Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dr. Farhat Asif. We are starting this season of Global Woman Inside with all of you, and this season is starting with an important personality that I will be meeting, a woman leader who has changed, who has made a change, who is a leader, and who is making a mark in one of the important institutions in Pakistan. Today we are with Misbah Khar, who is the Secretary to the Parliamentary Friendship Group, Advisor to the Chairman of the Senate, and also Ambassador to Interparliamentary Speakers Conference. So Misbah is with us, a woman leader who has been inspiring the young leaders across Pakistan and globally. Misbah, thank you so much for giving us the honor to be with us. First of all, who is Misbah Khar? And what are Misbah's inspiration and what has brought you to the position that you are here today?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you so much, Farah. By the way, I'd like to welcome you to the Senate. So, my journey in, I think, the public office begins with one belief that women's voices need to be heard where decisions are made. It is truly a privilege to work in the heart of Pakistan, in the House of Federation. I don't see Senate as just as a building of law, but what I see, this is where the narrative of our country is shaped, where decisions are made, where laws are passed, and where we represent our people and we ensure that their voices are heard and reflected in public policy. So to be honest, when I see my journey and I see where I'm working, I think this is an extremely important place, and I think that actually has a lot of responsibility on my shoulders as well. And when I represent Pakistan, I make sure that we build bridges which are based on mutual trust, respect, and led with dignity, and our relationships last forever.
सो मिसबा कहाँ से ये जर्नी स्टार्ट हुआ? वो जो छोटी सी मिसबा थी और वो स्कूल जाया करती थी और फिर कॉलेजेस यूनिवर्सिटी, where this journey started and what are your background that has led you to the place you are here today with us?
Okay, to be honest, Farah, I never thought that I'm going to work here. I'll be very honest with you. I went to Murray Convent, which is a boarding school. That's why I think I probably have my childhood I spent in Islamabad and in Murray. So this is this is close to my heart. But and then later on, I went to London to study in University of Portsmouth, and then I came back to Pakistan. I was actually working with my dad and working in his business. This is something I've always thought of, giving back something to the society. Jab, God has given you a position, or God has given you some knowledge, or any sort of how do you call it, when God's given you a gift, or God's given you something, that I feel that you need to share with others. So for me, joining public service was more about giving back to the people that I was already given. So this is why I came into the public service, was to make sure that women's voices are heard. Leadership is not just a title for me. It's just not a word. It means that you have to be there for others, and others need to hear. Others need a platform, and sometimes you need to be that platform, or you need to build that. You need to be that bridge which connects somebody, and gives them a solution. So this is how my mind has always been, and I'm very happy to serve the public. I've always been very comfortable with people. I've always, because I'm coming from a political background, so I think it was easy for me to connect with with people at large, or with the community, or and helping there was always part of my nature. I've always wanted to be there for others, so I think this was the reason why I joined the public service.
Misbah, could any leader, be that woman or man, there's always some people in their lives who are always believed in you, who has always made sure and see that a young leader in themselves. Who are the core key people in your life who had made sure that you become the Misbah that you are today?
I think it all starts at your home. The journey that I think all of us go through is from our childhood. So I think my mother was always there for me. My siblings have always been there for me as well. And I think those are the first few, people in my life who have ensured that anything I want to do, they've encouraged me. I think mom was always very encouraging if I wanted to be somewhere in my life, or maybe take risks or do something which was probably out of the box. She's always encouraged us to do that. So I think that's where it all starts. But coming in the public service, I think jo sabse badi I support that I had was Chairman Saab, Sayyid Yusuf Gilani. He was always there for me. He guided me. He's the one who's always, been there for, I think, young leaders. He likes to promote women because, that's one of the things that he wants to make sure that, all the minorities and women are, heard in Pakistan, because that's, again, we come from a traditional, very cultural sort of, country where it's not well taken women coming in public service, but he was always there. So I think that's one person who has always been there for me, and I really admire him and I respect him for that, and I probably thank him for being there, encouraging me, and today where I am is because of him.
So, Misbah, this is such an important point that you had mentioned. Of course, over the time period, the shaping of the human that becomes the leader who is sitting there at the table, at the seat, is very important. And those people, it's a village that makes a child to grow.
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. It is a village. Yeah.
And this leads me to a very important question. The office that you are currently holding is the advisor to the Chairman Senate. What it is all about? Because our audience also includes those young people who might be looking at you, looking at what this office does, what is this all about, and what are the scope of the work that you are currently doing?
So basically, at the moment, what I'm heading is the Interparliamentary Speakers Conference,
Of course, yes.
which is one of the forum that I was. It's an international forum. It has 45 countries on it, and we recently in Islamabad in November last year we held an international conference, and that was actually first of its kind, where we had the global south and global north unite together and come to Pakistan. And for most of those speakers, this was the first time coming to Pakistan. So that's one forum that I'm heading. Second, I'm obviously working with the Chairman Senate as his advisor on, again, international relations. Third, I'm also heading the friendship groups. So this is a very important platform because this is where diplomacy begins. So for me, diplomacy is another word for empathy in action. So when you're building bridges around the world, you need to make sure that they are built on trust, mutual respect, shared values. So this is where my job comes in, that I need to connect and I need to ensure that Pakistan's image is presented in a way that Pakistan actually is, not the narrative that those who against Pakistan or those who want to sabotage our image. That is one thing that I need to change. So when we had this conference in Islamabad, a lot of people changed their perspective, their ideas, and the views of Pakistan, what it really is. And what was really interesting, despite what was happening in Islamabad during those days, we still had a successful conference and no one left, is because of the trust that we built with them. So in any relationship, the most important thing is building trust. So I do work in an international platform. I do present Pakistan on international conferences, and we make sure that our country is presented in the right way.
Yeah, thank you so much for highlighting this, because we always encourage young people about international relations. So one of the important thing in international relations as a not only as a subject, but as an as a work, is how the relations are important. And you have mentioned a very important aspect and ingredient of diplomacy is empathy. So what does the international relations, when you are working or engaging with the international audience, what are the key factors that you always highlight about Pakistan, and especially when you are working in Interparliamentary Speakers Conference, or you are engaging with people, especially as an advisor to the chairman? So what are the key features that you highlight, because their young people might be looking at it, and what they should be learning from you?
I think one of the most important things that I like to highlight is that Pakistan is a peace-loving country. Okay, and we want to promote peace. And today, the way the world is, the geopolitical situation you can see between Iran and US, and God forbid we are on a brink of World War III. We don't want that. Although Pakistan is always, and this is again, Pakistan has been given a bad image, okay, but this is not the real Pakistan. So I truly want people to see what really Pakistan is. When people come to Pakistan and they visit Islamabad and they see around, they are amazed. They're mesmerized by how beautiful this country is. It has all the seasons. It has such vibrant, colorful, and such progressive people. So our nation is not just, so when we say Pakistan, with one word comes into our mind is resilience. But apart from resilience, we're also very progressive. And our women are leading in the forefront, and our women are in all fields. Again, we've always been associated, I don't want to say, but with our neighbors trying to give us a bad image, but that's not what the real Pakistan is. So when I make sure that the true, not just a narrative that has been built by others, but the true story of Pakistan is being told. And this is how we got 45 speakers to come to Pakistan, is because of trust. Because any relationship is based on trust. That's how it works. And because they trusted us with their lives as well. I mean, everything that was happening, they still did not want to leave because they believed in us. So, well, I make sure that, Pakistan is, given the respect that it deserves. Pakistan is, we show the image of Pakistan that truly it is. And this is how we change the story narrative of our country.
What are the current? Thank you so much for highlighting this important aspect. At the DiploTV and at Global Woman Insight, we are also trying to value this important aspect. And thank you so much for doing this in this important public institution. What are the current projects that are ongoing as advisory to the chairman of the Senate, which is a very important aspect, and then your the role as heading this important interparliamentary speakers conference? What are the current projects or initiatives that you are currently working on?
So at the moment, what we are heading on is the two most important thing again. I had friendship groups in Islam, in the Senate, and that's what I'm trying to activate. So before I actually did join this was quite of like a dead horse. There wasn't much activity between the international, diplomacy or the diplomats and between the Senate. I think they were always been very active with National Assembly, but very few meetings would happen. And I think I really worked on that, and that turned around, and that's become a very active and one of the most prominent departments in Senate right now. So that's my goal right now, is to ensure that the diplomats, like I said, diplomacy is another language. It's a whole different language, but this is where we need to ensure that the Senate of Pakistan is represented really well, and for what it is, it's shown on international platform. Second, in the Interparliamentary Speakers Conference as an ambassador. So the entire concept of having this organization was to ensure that we promote peace, interfaith harmony in the world, and that's why Interparliamentary Speakers Conference was formed. And obviously, the first president of Interparliamentary Speakers Conference is Chairman Senate Sayyid Yusuf Gilani, and that's where we're leading. Pakistan is leading a new sort of, how do you call it, a new way of in diplomacy. So Pakistan is never really led in that way. So now we are. So that's where we start working on peace. Now we had the first conference. So the idea is to make this organization as strong as IPU or as strong as all international organizations are, because it's very start. It's just been a year now. And in a year as well, we've had two conferences. The third conference is probably going to be taking place in Cambodia now. So we are working again on promoting peace, interfaith harmony, multicultural, and we are trying to resolve problems through dialogue, and that's what we believe in. So this is where I come in and I work on that.
Exactly. This is such an outstanding initiative, especially when you are as a woman leader, you're leading this important institution. Misbah, as women leaders, what are the challenges that you face when you are sitting around and working in diplomacy, which is primarily looks like more like a men's field? What are the challenges that you face and how you overcome them? Why I'm asking this question is that there are a lot of young women leaders who might be listening to you from Pakistan and of course globally, and of course there are challenges, but how you are overcoming them?
I think the most important thing I think women lack is courage. I think because the way we've been raised and coming from this sort of culture, again, we've always been told to stay at home or to stay quiet, hold our voices. But I think it's very different when you come into a public platform or you start working in a field where it's male dominated. So I feel you need to get that courage in yourself, and you need to build that confidence. And how you do that is by facing your fear. You see, when you experience fear, only then do you grow. So sometimes I feel even if your voice is shaking, even if you are feeling underconfident, build that courage to walk there. So what, you'll make mistakes. Everybody's supposed to make mistakes. We expect that everybody has to be perfect all the time. We're not perfect. Humans are flawed. God did not make us angels. God made us humans, and that's where He says in every holy book you would read that God said humans are flawed and I will forgive them. So the point is, God will forgive us, but humans don't forgive us. So I think fear of being judged is one of the biggest problems that women have. courage is something that we lack. And honestly, I would say I was not a very public person, but now, if after working in this field, I think it's the more I overcome my fear, the more things I experience, the easier it became for me. Now it's not as difficult it was like from the first day I probably joined, you know. So again, for all the women out there, is like, speak up. Okay, even if you are afraid of speaking, please build that courage to speak. And then remember everyone that you will be encountering. And you know, sometimes we walk, you see, it's like when you walk into a room, you sort of, the room grows on you initially. When you will open that door, you will be scared and you'll hesitate, you know, you'll not understand that maybe I don't. But when you will sit on that table and you will encounter people from all walks of life, you will understand two things. Everybody doesn't know everything. Okay. Nobody's an expert. We all learning from each other. And you belong to the table. So never make them think, or never make them believe that you don't belong there. Don't hesitate. Okay. Be like, you know, be your own voice. Speak your mind. We hesitate to speak because we're afraid of being judged. So don't be afraid of being judged. Even if you're being judged, so what? And just remember one thing, that people will forget what you've said. People will forget what you've done. People will never forget how you make them feel. So as long as you give them respect, and you lead with dignity, and you make them feel good, it doesn't matter what you've said, you'll get away with it. So I think, yes, it was hard for me, it was challenging for me, and it's still not easy. It never will be easy, I probably think. But I think the more I experience this, I think the better I get into it.
Exactly. Yeah. And how is the education, or getting an education or knowledge, is important for women?
I think knowledge is the most important thing. Knowledge is power. When they say knowledge is power for a woman, because our strength is knowledge. And I think, and the other thing I think I want to tell all the women is, please don't see your weaknesses, you know, your culture, your background. That should be your strength. You know, wear it to your sleeves, like, you know, hold your head high, be proud of it. Don't be ashamed of it. Sometimes we want to, just because we want to fit in a certain idea of what others want us to do, we feel a little underconfident, and we try to, you know, fill in that, you know. Yeah, exactly. And we try to be something that we're not. But be yourself, you know, be honest to yourself. When you're honest to yourself, you will excel, and people will accept you for who you are. It doesn't matter whatever your crazy ideas are. And then you said about education. I think the most important tool for a woman is education. And there's this famous quote where it says, if you want an educated, even if you want a progressive nation, give me educated mothers. So it all starts with a woman. She's the first school that a child will have. And you know, that's where you can shift the, you know, change the mind of the nation, is when you have educated mother raising the next generation. They will teach them to be certain ways, and this is how your country will progress. So I think every woman has the right to be educated, you know.
I mean, such an outstanding aspect that you're mentioning, and coming from someone who has an experience of building up own leadership, but also, you know, rallying around. What is the legacy, Misbah, that you would like to build? Because you build things, you take things forward, but there are also a legacy that you always wanted to build. So what is the legacy that you would like to leave when you
to be honest, I just want that whoever I'm encountered with, whoever I've come across, I hope they remember me in a good way. I hope I've been able to touch their lives in a way that I've been able to help them. The only legacy that I want to build for myself is people remember me as somebody who was kind, who is down to earth, who is a nice person, as a good human being. I don't care about the titles for me. They don't matter to me. I don't care, you know, if I'm even not given this office anymore. It'll not matter to me. What's important for me is as a human being. I want to be remembered as a good human being. And that's the most important thing for me, because I think I believe in the afterlife. I believe this life is very short. Like, I don't believe that we're going to live here forever. There is no forever. Okay, this is all going to end. So when it ends, what's really going to matter for me is how I have been with others. So I think most important thing for me is to people remembering me for helping them, for being there for them, or able to touch their lives or make a difference which is positive for them. I hope I'm remembered like that. And that's the legacy that I would like to build.
This is such an outstanding, and building on that, as I would also like to ask you, what is the future legacy that you would like to build on? Because, you know, not being forever living here, but there's something that you're building today that you would like to other people to continue building that in the future. So what is the future projects that you had envisioned today that you would like them to continue in the future in this office? That
well, I think one thing is that I hope I have made a difference for women in this country and women in this field. I hope I've opened up doors for them to work internationally, for them to stand out and work individuals. I hope I have encouraged women to be themselves. And I hope I have, in a way, inspired someone's life, some young girl out there who wants to come in diplomatic circle, who wants to work in the diplomatic corps. I hope I'm able to give her that strength that yes, you can lead with dignity, with respect. And I think the most important thing for me as a woman, and I think for any other girls that I want to give them a message is be very, very strong character. Okay, your character matters the most. Okay, and once you have a strong character, you will have nerves of steel. You'll be able to accomplish anything. You'll be able to fight all wars because deep down inside you are a strong person. So I think that's one thing I want to give it to all women, and this is a door that I've opened up for younger generation to come. And this is an office that all anybody who wants to walk in can join this office at some point in their life, and they can see that okay, so Misbah Khar did this. Okay, so while she was an advisor, she also became an ambassador, and she led us on international platform. Or she's done so conferences, and she's done so much. So that's, I think, one thing that I want to leave for the future generations. And second, yes, I'm very open to welcoming anybody who wants to visit me or meet me, because that's the whole point of being in the public service, is to be there for others.
Yes, thank you so much for opening the door for us as well. And it's such an honor to sit down with you and talk about your journey, your aspirations, and your wisdom about the office that you're holding. It's such an important office because this is how the world is viewing us. What is your message to the audience that watching us on DiploTV and Global Woman Insight who are watching us right now, and especially coming from a woman leader? What is your core message to all of them, audience from across the world, and of course, young people?
I think for me, the message to all the audience would be lead with courage, lead with dignity, okay? And things will happen for you. Serve the nation, serve your people, live for others. The point is that unfortunately, social media has, I wouldn't say probably polluted the younger generation, or the young G is probably the Gen Z generation that we like to say is misled. It's misled in a way where we are talking about a fake world, which is a virtual world, is not existing in reality. So when you open up an Instagram and you see somebody enjoying their life and probably having all this, but that's all fake, that's not real. And privacy, I think, is the biggest superpower. So when you are opening up and I want to tell this to the younger generation as well, that please maintain your privacy. Stop giving access to others to your private life. Stop posting everything. It's not important for you to show off to others. Okay, you need to live a good life which is in private, and you're content with it. When there is something missing in us, we try to show off. Okay, and that, I think, in it itself is reflecting and destroying us within ourselves. So I think it's very important to understand that you don't need to wear the most expensive clothes. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have designer bags. That's just something that the media is doing, or the marketing companies are doing that to make sure that you're never able to live a life of contentment. The point is to be content with what you have, and what you have inside you is far more important is what you wear outside. So I don't believe in expensive brands. I don't believe in wasting my money on this. I would rather build assets. So even for the women out there, is you should stop caring what people want you to look like. What's more important is what you're comfortable with. If I'm comfortable with what I'm look like, I don't care how many people criticize me. So when I joined the public office, I was given a very good advice. They said, look, you're gonna, as women, we want to be liked, we want to be admired. That's our nature. That's how God built us. We want to look pretty. Okay, and that's something that really goes against our nature. We cannot handle criticism really well. So the advice was that you'll not be liked because you've come into public office and you've probably come at a good position. People will criticize you, and you need to accept that criticism and take it a positive way. Don't let it put you down. If you are willing to be criticized, you're willing to be not liked or being even hated by people you don't know, that's okay. It doesn't matter. You've not hurt them. Let them speak, and there will come a point you will become above all this. So I think as women leaders, or as people who are coming in the in public life, is please handle criticism in a positive way. Second, please keep things private. You see, would you want to open your doors to the public and come and see your house and they can see everything inside? So why are you posting it on public platforms? Why are you letting people see what you do in your daily life, what you're eating, what you're wearing, what you're buying? That's where I think we have lost that
Privacy.
that those values, and that's very important to come back again to. Your shoes will not make you stand out, your bags, your clothes will not make you stand out, your character will. You see, the work that you will give, and the things that you will do for others will make you stand out. People will not like you because you have expensive things or you are rich. People will like you as how you treat them,
Exactly.
how you behave with them, if you're nice with them. That's important. So I think that's a message that I would like to give to everybody, is be a good human being. Okay.
Exactly, yes.
That's why we have so many problems in this
Exactly.
world right now. Why are people fighting amongst each other? Because we're not willing to understand each other, we're not willing to have a dialogue. And everything has become so artificial, even to the point where we go into meetings, and this is really funny, we're giving these talking points. Okay. And sometimes I feel all the talking points are exactly the same. So I wish people would just talk to you like a human being. They would say what they feel like saying, rather than having AI to tell you what you want to say, because AI does not know what I'm feeling. I'm a human being, that's a machine. You see, I want that in human interaction. I don't want somebody coming. Yes, I would like to gain knowledge. I love studying. I love reading. Every day I read, by the way. So that's a message for all the young girls as well. Please start reading. Keep away your tabs. Keep away your phones. Keep away all your digital things. Shut them for a little while. Your brain will only work when you start reading. Okay, study as much as you can. I love to study, and probably after I leave my office, I'm going to start pursuing my studies again. And I would love to grow. This is how my mind grows. So and when your mind grows, your personalities grow as well, and you become a knowledgeable person, and people want to speak to you as well. So have you noticed, would you like to sit with somebody who's just very well dressed, but there's nothing you're getting out of it, right? You get bored. Or somebody who's simple, okay, but when they speak, you sort of enjoy their company, their aura, their presence, and I think that's very valuable. So we need to work on our personalities, we need to work on our character, we need to work on something that's deeper inside us, rather than spending all our money being in shallow things, and wasting our time over looking so pretty. We have become those how do you call it, like these superficial sort of expectations from the world. You don't need to live up to their expectations, you need to live up to your expectations.
Exactly. Yes.
And that's, I think, is a very important thing. So please
Yeah.
stop worrying about all
Yeah.
this, what people say. Let them criticize you.
Exactly.
That's their job.
Thank you so much, Misbah, for sharing this important message. Ladies and gentlemen, and young people who are listening to us, this was an amazing episode with Misbah Khar, who is heading a very important position in the parliament. Of course, being advisor to the chairman Senate, and advisor, an important position of being an ambassador of Interparliamentary Speakers Conference. These are all very important initiatives. As Misbah said, that diplomacy and empathy go hand in hand. And why it is important that we are creating an impact of those people who travel from different parts of the world to come to Pakistan, and those people who understand Pakistan through the way we treat them. And as Misbah's office is dealing with all these important initiatives, I would like to ask everyone who is listening to us right now to not only build on what Misbah has been guiding, and of course, learn from within, build knowledge, understand yourself, and of course, treat others with empathy, not just being in power or being in a position of power, as Misbah has been sharing, that her work and her insights and her inspiration has always been to serve people. And this is why she is building an image of Pakistan, which is a true image of Pakistan. And thank you so much, Misbah, for having us in your office. And I hope that in our next episode, we'll be bringing another woman leader who is building image of Pakistan, who is building a life in Pakistan, and bringing the inspiring people from across the world. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you continue liking, sharing, and keep interacting with us through our initiatives. Thank you so much, and see you in another episode.